Nope. I gotta start again.
You don't need to be nervous around me. You do know me.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Yascast with me, Yaseen. Hope you're all doing great today. This is episode lucky number because 7 is a lucky number. Isn't that right, Jess?
I mean, it depends really. I personally don't have a lucky number, but you know, if it's your lucky number, we'll go with it.
It's not my lucky number.
Is it not?
It's just,
what is your lucky number?
I don't think I have a lucky number. I'm not like a person that believes in that kind of lucky number stuff. I mean, like I suppose I do have some superstitions, but I don't know. I don't think I have like a lucky number. I guess like maybe I'd pick 13 just because of how amusing it would be, but I wouldn't call that a lucky number just because I like being contrarian sometimes.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's more sort of like because it's the unlucky number, therefore, you know, you're sort of using it to your advantage type thing.
Exactly.
But I agree. I don't have a lucky number. I mean, no, literally could not. 12. There we go. We'll do that.
12. There we go. You can have 12 and I can have 13. So, today's guest is none other than Jessica, one of my greatest friends, one of my oldest friends, actually, one of my best friends, and of course, the chief sister, Jessica. Say hello,
Jessica.
Hello, Jessica. You've been wanting to say that, haven't you?
I am. I would make a great dad. Like I genuinely really would. Like the dad jokes that come out of me sometimes, I do think, crikey.
Oh yeah, you are really good at those dad jokes. So how long have we been friends? About 7.
Yeah. Well,
7 years.
We met in my second year of university, and it was your second year as well, wasn't it?
No, it was my third year. My third year.
That
my
was
last
it,
year.
Yeah. So that must have been 2016. So yeah.
Yes, that's right. The year of Brexit. I remember specifically being
because
the
first, of all the Brexit
memes. Yeah, the first academic year after Brexit. Yeah, that's right. So we met then in it would have been like October time, I suppose.
I think so. Yeah, because it was. I remember it being cold when we went to the cinema that time. It was it's very chilly.
Yes, the cinema that time. Yeah, the cinema. Yeah. So that's 7 years. And you know what they say: if you've been friends for more than 7 years, then you're not just friends anymore. You're gay.
I mean, it doesn't take 7 years to work that out between us, realistically. It took all of about 20 minutes, realistically. Oh my gosh! I've just realised. You know, you said like lucky number 7, 7 years friendship.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed. That's right. The Yascast is a front for the Illuminati, which, by the way, isn't a real thing. Like the whole Illuminati stuff. That was basically one giant joke.
That's what they want you to think.
No. You see, like you try to explain the Illuminati, like the actual Illuminati. You're like, oh yeah, but that's just that's just like what they want you to think. But no, it's legit. Like so the Illuminati conspiracy, so to speak, was basically these two guys. They wanted to see, they basically wanted to write like something really ironic for Playboy magazine. This is the 70s, by the way, or the 60s or whatever. I don't know, a long time ago, like before I was born, so it doesn't really matter. And they wanted to write an article that was so obviously like full of shit. So they decided that they would pick a organization from like the past that like had only like a small following, and then make a conspiracy about that. So they picked, I believe, the Munich Illuminati, which existed for like a handful of years, and it was basically just a place for rich people with money to just talk. And so they wrote this article about the Illuminati. Say, oh yeah, the Illuminati is this all-powerful, all-seeing organization, and they were like, no one would totally take this seriously, right? And well, as you know, everyone kind of did take it seriously, and now we have the Illuminati conspiracy.
Yeah, but what if all of that is like a double, triple, quadruple bluff? You don't have an answer to that.
I don't have an answer to that.
That's probably the most quiet I've ever known you to go. Like, literally.
Yeah, I think I think so. Yeah, that's right. Only you could stun me into silence like that. The first time we met, so we met at university, and we met first in movie club, right, and then
Yeah,
book
well,
club.
we were both
'Cause movie
in
club.
the two societies, and didn't
Yep.
realize it at the time when we first met. It wasn't until it was like, oh
Yes.
yeah, you're from movie club and as well, type thing.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And I think the first time we kind of socially hung out was at the Odeon,
I
right?
can't remember what film we'd gone to see. I think it was a Marvel film, but
I think it was that Iron Man?
No, because Iron Man came out way before then.
No, it wasn't.
It was Doctor Strange. Yes, of course it was.
You know what? It's so weird. I in my head I thought it was Doctor Strange, but I thought no, that was like 2018, right? But no, I was right. It was we went to see Doctor Strange.
Because what the society did was like organize movie like trips to the, like basically to get us all to go to the cinema together and then hang out afterwards and have a drink in the Spoons that was downstairs.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. It was quite a very pleasant experience hanging out with those guys. But that was the first time that you and I hung out socially, and that led to the most infamous, the first conversation we ever had, which I. If you want to tell the story, go ahead.
I'm more than happy to tell the story. So basically, we're all stood outside the cinema waiting to go in. And as I said, it was like a little bit cold. You know, we're all sort of waiting to sort of get inside, get our tickets. There must have been about 10 of us. Yeah, there must have been about 10 of us. Yeah. And I'm getting a little bit not aggy, but just sort of, you know, cold, want to get inside, get my ticket, get settled type thing. I've always been like a person that likes to get to the cinema early because I like to get in my seat and get settled. So I don't, even though like you have to sit through all the trailers and stuff, I would rather do that and make sure I'm comfy, etc. And I've sort of said like, oh, like when can we go in and get settled? And Tom, who was the president of the society, he said, oh, we've just got to wait for Travis to turn up. And I was like, oh, well, what does Travis look like? I'll keep an eye out for him, because I'm keen, I'm ready to go to get into the cinema, ready to see the film. And he goes, oh, he's an Asian boy. And I've gone, oh, okay, cool. So I'm on alert now, looking out for someone who's Asian. And then someone walks towards us.
More specifically, Travis was a Chinese person. So I think Tom did mention he was Chinese, not like.
Yeah.
Was I that? Yeah. Tom did specifically say that Travis was Chinese.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I'm on alert now, looking out, and then a Chinese person comes walking towards us, and I've gone, oh, is that Travis? And then Yaseen says, you can't say that, that's racist. And I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, how? Like, you've said to look for a Chinese person. There's a Chinese person that looks like they're of university age. My natural assumption is that's Travis. And then literally like 20 seconds later, Travis comes walking by. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe it.
Yep. So my first interaction with Jess was calling her racist in the cinema. And now we're best friends,
yeah,
right?
And now we're best friends.
But that wasn't. I mean, that was like our first meeting. But I think the second time we really kind of got to talk to each other was at that party with
the book club Christmas party.
Yeah. Because we went to Helena's house. Yeah. And I remember this very clear. I was sitting on one side of the living room, and you were sitting on the other side of the living room in the sofa, and we just started talking quite generally. And I remember thinking, my initial impression of you was that, wow, this person is very loud and kind of there. And I also thought you were very interesting in how you were like really articulate and talking about stuff. And yeah, we spent like a good portion of the night talking to each other.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that you think I'm loud, but the reason I'm loud is because I've got hearing loss and I can't actually hear myself speak. So, like, I genuinely shit you not. Like, I'm gonna need hearing aids next year. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's been confirmed by doctors and everything. But like, the reason I am loud is because I actually can't hear myself. And obviously, I just love the sound of my own voice naturally.
Of course. That too. That's why you're on here,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I just want to listen to myself for 2 hours over.
Yeah. I mean, we've there's a lot of stuff that we've been through together. It's crazy to think we've been friends for so long. I mean, that's like, a degree, a master's degree, and a PhD, like, of
Yeah.
friendship. If you want to think like that, and then I don't know.
But I mean, I'd rather have the
we
friendship because what the fuck can I do with a PhD nowadays anyway?
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right. You're telling me. I mean, I recently read this article that said that the value of a university degree in the UK has dropped like 30, 40
Yeah.
percent from a decade ago. It is essentially like the effort you got to put in to get a degree is now it's like way more than what you get in terms of value. Like, you'd probably earn more if you spent the 3 or 4 years doing a job. And if you got a degree and then did all the graduate job stuff and whatever kind of stuff. And that's not because going to university is worthless or whatever. It's just because the job
It's
market
so
in this country is
saturated. Because
it's so
everyone has a
saturated.
degree, and the quality
Everyone,
of education is pretty much the same all across the board now. That we're
yeah,
all on
yeah.
we're all on a level playing field now. So therefore, how do you distinguish yourself? Oh, you get a master's, you get a PhD.
And then that's even more effort. That's basically, and those are productive times that you could be doing a job. And yeah, but the obvious comparison, of course, is the USA. And if you and while the number of graduates in the USA is also increasing, the value of a degree over there is also increasing too. And it's because, of course, the US is a constantly growing economy where the job market is always kind of shifting and moving if you have the skills needed. Whereas, of course, in the UK, the job market is full of low paid, low end jobs, whereas jobs that are in the kind of middle or the top are routinely taken by people with connections rather
bits
than
of paper that you spend loads of money on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with tuition fees going up to, 9.25, 9.5, each 9,500 each year, even though that's obviously only paid back after you graduate, the sticker cost of an education is getting it makes it sometimes commercially unviable for a young person, and that's a weird kind of corporate. I mean, we went to the same university, so both of us experienced firsthand the kind of corporatization of university
Well, this
life.
is we're customers at the end of the day. We're students. We're students, but we're customers because they want us to spend our 9.5 grand of student loan at their facility, not any other facility.
Yeah, exactly. And if you remove the competition element from these universities, then they just go back to being places of learning or whatever, right? There's no need to compete. Then there's no need to marketize yourself or whatever. There's no need for our university to open up a campus in fucking, what was it, Abu Dhabi?
Was it Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, it was one of those like Gulf Arab countries. I get a feeling it was Abu Dhabi. It was either Abu Dhabi or Dubai or like Qatar or something.
No way.
Yeah. Also, how university was like totally like progressive and had pride parades and stuff.
No, that's why I'm surprised. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you think our university was really progressive, really open and tolerant and stuff, and and then and they open a campus in fucking one of these Gulf Arab states. And that just proves the democratization point even further, that if universities have these supposed values that are also supposedly British values too, and they go around and open campuses in these kind of regimes that would not be tolerant of like 40% of the student body that we have.
Exactly.
But enough about that. We hung out pretty
Yes, we
recently.
did. So recent, in fact, like within the last week.
That's right, and this is like us hanging out
I
again.
mean, you can't get enough of me really. At the end of the day, we barely see each other as it is, like, because we're not at university anymore, so it's not as if we see each other like in between classes, after classes, at societies. Like, this is like, twice, this like twice a year type thing, because adult
Yeah,
life do be sucky.
I don't like to be talking. Yeah, it's awful because you live. I mean, you don't live too far, but you live far enough that is still quite an
Yeah.
obstacle. I mean, even seeing someone like Chester or Polish Alley, even though they live in the town over, it's still a considerable effort to hang out. Actually, I've asked Chester to
Oh,
be on here.
really?
Yeah. He was so excited by the concept. He was like, "Oh my god, I would love to talk about like anime and stuff. Can I do that?" I was like, "Look, man, we've spoken about like a loads of shit on here. I'm pretty sure you talking about anime is gonna be the least surprising thing ever." So I'd be excited to see what he says. I mean, I'm pretty sure him and I could go on for like 4 hours,
If not more.
if not more. Yeah, I mean, last time I saw him, I brought like my Xbox, I brought the Nintendo Switch, I bought like some hard drives with video games on them. I was like, oh yeah, man, I got all these games, I brought controllers, we can play this, that, and the other. And then we ended up playing like 2 games, and just spent the entire evening just talking about stuff. So that's
But
the
you know
kind of.
what? I'm not
I mean,
surprised, because
that's
this is exactly what happened when you came to visit me. You were like, shall I bring my Switch? Shall I bring this? And I was like, well, you're more than welcome to, but I doubt we'll actually use it, because we're probably going to spend the most of the time shit posting IRL. So
That's true, and we did
we
ship
really
post
did.
IRL. I mean, what we did was we played like a couple of games, then we got kind of tired. Then we watched
We
Hyoka,
finished watching
which
it.
we
Something that
finished
we
watching
started
Hyoka
literally like how many years did we work it out? Was it 6 years ago?
6 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago, because it was a year after you
Yeah.
came back
When you
from
came to visit me when I was back in
your.
Portsmouth.
That's right, and I was like, it's funny, it's interesting because obviously Jess is not an anime person at all. I think the only kind of anime things you watch is like Studio
Yeah,
Ghibli stuff.
like I appreciate it for its artwork, but it's not something. Yeah, like
Yeah,
and the
it's not.
stories themselves can be great, but they just don't necessarily appeal to me. So like I would only watch it
Yeah,
if it was a
yeah,
storyline that would appeal to me, like the Cells at Work anime. Because where
yes,
I'm
exactly, and
a
that was.
biologist by my education, I was like, I need to see this. I need to see like this animated version of the human body where you've got these anthropomorphized cells trying to fight all these various infections. So
Yeah,
I was all
I
over
remember.
that.
I remember. Yeah. How did you come across that? Because I remember you asked if there was a way that you could watch it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you can borrow my Crunchyroll account, and we could watch it
Do you
together."
know
And
what? I
we
can't
did.
remember exactly, but I feel like because we'd spoken about anime so much, I started getting targeted ads on Facebook for Crunchyroll, and it knew that I would be interested in it, and I saw it, and I saw the trailer, and I was like, that is so me. I need to watch that.
You need to watch that. And that was my first kind of way of introducing you to anime. Specific to anime that I knew you'd like, because we watched Cells at Work together, and it was interesting watching it with Jess, because obviously Jess is a biologist by her education, and it was just fun to have her be like, "Oh yeah,
This is
this
so
is true.
accurate.
This is like
Yeah.
this. It's like." This is so accurate, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so crazy," And obviously, Cells at Work is just a very, very interesting anime. Such a very fun anime too.
Oh my gosh, the
And I
platelets.
believe
They're
you.
so cute. The
You're
little
so
and she
cute,
squishes
so
the red
cute.
blood cell squishes their cheeks all the time. And wasn't there a website where you could squish the cheeks? I think I think
Yes,
you found
yes,
a website
yeah,
where
that's right. I linked you to. Yeah, I linked you to a website where you could squish the cheeks of the little platelets.
would
That's
recommend
so funny.
Cells at Work, definitely. But yes,
Yeah. I mean, look, this is this is Jess' recommendation. She doesn't watch anime, but she recommends
Yeah,
Cells
I
at
mean,
Work.
you might.
So you should
Anyone
watch
else
that.
might think it's shit, but you know.
They did do a spin-off called Cells at Work Black, which is supposed to be a kind of a more teenage appropriate version. So if you and that it takes place in a body that's not particularly well looked
Right,
after,
got
shall we
you.
say. So it's a lot more gritty, a lot more dark, but obviously it educates you on the kind of negatives of a human body. In comparison to the relatively light-hearted and Saturday morning cartoon style of
Yeah.
the original Cells at Work. But yeah, we finished watching Hyoka, which is incredible. I think we started watching Hyoka because we finished Cells at Work, and you were interested in
Yeah, I
watching something
was.
else, and and I was like, well, it's got to be good, it's got to look good, and it's got to not have any of the anime bullshit.
Yeah.
and Hyuka came to mind. One, because I saw it in the Funimation catalog, and two, because the studio that made Hyuka made previous animes that were good and also not full of anime bullshit.
What do you class as anime bullshit then?
Things such as kind of like some of the over sexualization.
Yeah. The stereotypes as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the stereotypical kind of like what your mom thinks is anime. That kind of stuff is what I would want to avoid, and it's difficult to. It's interesting because there's lots of really good anime out there that are kind of mired by anime bullshit. But Hyoka is one of the few one. I mean, obviously many good animes out there that aren't full of anime bullshit, and Hyoka is one of them. And yeah, and it was amusing because we've watched it in bits and bobs over the past 6 years, kind of on and off. I mean, the first time was when we watched it
like together in person,
and then we watched a few episodes, and then
yeah, like I got the login and I would watch it on my PC and you would watch it on your PC, and we would yeah.
That's right, yeah. And then every time I came to visit you in some form, we would
we'd watch a
further
couple at a
episodes of it.
time.
And yeah, and then God, this weekend it was like we were at episode 18. So that left us 4 episodes left to finish, and we just straight up watched all of them. I think Hyuka is definitely up there as one of my favorite animes of all time. Definitely in my top 5. Yeah. The art style, the pacing, the characterization, the development that each character goes through for the course of the series, and just the very kind of simple storylines that expose a more kind of complex, deep line. Like, for example, the main character,
Oriki.
What's his name again? Oriki. Thank you. Wow, you pronounced that so well.
Arigato.
So obviously at the beginning of the show, Oriki's main thing is that he won't do anything that requires him to expend. Unless he wants to conserve as much energy as possible. And then, his character grows throughout the episodes, very slowly but carefully, especially with the help of Chitanda, who is his, we believe it's his love interest.
Yeah, literally all there, like, kiss! Kiss! 22 episodes of all of this sexual chemistry gone! For what?
Gone! So much UST and a da! But yeah. So I mean, all the characters had their growth too, and I think it's also a relatively realistic.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this is something that I struggle with when I see sort of 16, 17-year-olds in media, is none of it's realistic. Like, I don't relate to any of them as characters, because I sort of think, well, I wasn't doing that when I was 16.
Yeah,
and then I do then sort of have to think, well, not everyone's drinking cheap cider on the beachfront when they're 16, but Hyuka did feel like a more realistic representation of what school is like.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's and I thought the same thing, is that there's so much Western media depicts like late teenagehood as just being like scaled down adulthood.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, you can compare it to what we saw because we watched Mean Girls afterwards,
Yes,
and you
yes,
compare Mean Girls. I mean, as much as I love the film, it's great, it's full of some
it's such a
amazing
great film.
one-liners, but like school's not really like that. Like, you don't really have cliques. Like, I mean, maybe some schools do, but I doubt it that you have that sort of segregation almost, where you've got all of this
Yeah,
bitchiness
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
people calling each other whores and sluts to that extent.
Like, yeah, exactly. In a sense, that is kind of like a scaled down. Like it appears that in Western media, even one set in the UK, take something. I mean, Wallover is probably relatively
To an
realistic.
extent,
Of course,
obviously
has
it's
to make stuff up for drama
dramatized
to an extent.
for drama
Dramas.
for TV,
Yeah,
but it
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
quite a realistic representation of what a British school is actually
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But most other media are set in kind of late teenagehood. Kind of is very, very not realistic to how actually school is and how teenagers are. Whereas Hayuka, even for anime as well, it is very, very different in that it very deliberately portrays these young people as being kind of mostly in flux, but with plenty of room to grow. But yeah, and they make very illogical decisions. They make very weird choices that perhaps you wouldn't make as an adult, but would be perfectly acceptable to make. Well, not acceptable, but perfectly understandable to make as a late teenager. I mean, you know, if you consider how what's his face, the other main character,
Oh,
other
I
male
can't remember
character,
his name. I
um
can't remember the other two characters' names.
I can't remember their names, but the other two, their relationship, despite the fact it was of a different kind of caliber to Chitanda and Oroke, their dynamic was surprisingly realistic in the way that he behaved towards her, and she did to him. Now, obviously, it's all dramatic for the sake of the show, but it is a very realistic, very kind of grounded expression of teenagehood. And I think even for anime, which most of which is set in kind of a late.
Yeah, in that sort of like senior year of high school type.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That is, it is surprisingly grounded and realistic in that form. And I mean, I think I shouldn't use the word realistic. I feel
Yeah, and maybe relatable.
relatable for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not meant to see yourself in Oroke for sure, but you are meant to emphasize with the way he is and the way the other characters are. And Hayuka did that very, 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 very well. We watched the English dub as well. So some people out there who are
Yep,
sub
the
purists
age-old
will perhaps
debate.
criticize that
For some
it
people,
subs
it's
be
Team
dubbed.
Edward. For some people, it's Team Jacob for all dubs.
I'm Team Jacob, by the way. But yeah, subs or dubs. I mean,
I'm
yeah,
Team the guy that almost kills Bella.
I can't believe that the whole kind of run ended with the guy imprinting on a fucking
Oh,
baby. I mean,
don't get me started. We're not having that conversation now. Like, what was Stephanie Meyer thinking? Like, oh, well, Jacob has to be happy in the end. I know. Let's have him fall in love with the baby called Resume.
yeah, I remember like reading like up about the films, and apparently the first film they decided to kind of play it kind of Starship Troopers style, in that it was kind of taking the source material, but also kind of poking fun at it. And I guess that was too not good for Stephanie Meyer, so she replaced the director in the second film, and then the subsequent films kind of have the lack of that charm that the first one did. I never read the books, and I never really planned to, but I can only imagine how
Yeah, I read the first
interesting
book and I was
interesting
just
they
like,
are.
this it comes back to being relatable. I didn't find any of it relatable. I didn't understand why were these vampires going back to high school? Like,
Yeah.
you're literally 120 years off. Like, go and travel the world. Like, go and see some sights. Why are you going to high school for? Also, all of her reactions and everything that Bella experiences, the fact that she's so irrevocably in love with this person, I just didn't find it relatable. I was like, when I was 16, I didn't feel like that at all. And her character just wasn't likable. I was like, why would anyone fall in love with her? So I just did not.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. I did. It kind of, it's interesting because like
Yes.
it's her character was essentially an empty vessel
Yeah, that she could be
for
anyone.
the primarily female teen audience to project themselves into, which is why her agent, she could be anyone. Her agency is kind of all over the place. And if you create a character as an empty vessel, which again is also a problem that is found in anime a lot, where the main protagonist, who is most invariably male, is also quite a very generic guy, because he is there to be the audience stand-in, and Bella is the same way. She is the audience stand-in. She is there to fit whatever preconceived notions the audience wants of her and has of her. But then you compare that to, say, Candace Everdeen from Hunger Games books, and she has her own agency. She makes her own decisions. She chooses her own kind of way, and of course I can go into depth about how amazing the Hunger Games series is as a book series, just because it is. One, the main character has her own agency and her own expectations and her own kind
Is
of
to be
way
the
of
female
thinking,
lead.
right? In comparison to many heroines who are just like Bella, an empty kind of vessel whose only existence is to be saved by someone else. To be the female lead and to be the damsel in distress, right? Candace Everdeen was never the damsel in distress. I know that, but the Hunger Games, is also incredible because of the substance of each book, in that it expressed a very kind of clear political analogy expression that fuck God, what's the author's name?
Suzanne Collins.
So yes, that Suzanne Collins wanted to instill in her readers. Now obviously we're not expecting a great political polemic in these kinds of books, but in my opinion, from my reading of the books, the political aspects of the stories are there to to be very explicitly anti corporate, anti capitalist, anti authoritarian in that sense. And then you compare the Hunger Games to something like, I don't know, Divergent, right? Who saw the success of the Hunger Games, but didn't really understand why. The Hunger Games was successful because its main
character. It wasn't about dividing people into groups. It was about so much more than the dystopia and dividing people into groups.
Yeah, exactly. The message of the Hunger Games was in the story it told and the politics that it evoked in the story. Whereas Divergent saw the style of the Hunger Games and copied that without any of the actual substance of it.
Yeah. The whole dystopia
words,
works, but it needs to work well.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what the Hunger Games did. It was dystopia, but it worked well, whereas every other sort of dystopia novel has just not come anywhere near as close. I'm not bashing anyone that enjoys it. Like, obviously everyone has their own tastes, etc. But like, as standalone, it just doesn't match up in comparison, in my opinion.
Exactly. And speaking of Hunger Games, actually, you were quite a prolific Hunger Games super
I
fan.
am indeed.
In the
I loved the books when I was younger. When they said they were making films of them, I was just so excited. Do you know what? I actually had the films on today whilst I was working from home. I'm not even kidding. It's really weird we've sort of talked about it, because I've literally watched all four. Well, had it on as background noise, because when I'm working from home, I don't sit there and watch it, but I had it on as background noise because I don't want to sit in silence. And but I am a big fan.
Yeah, that's true.
A big fan of the franchise, of the books, of the movies. Obviously, with every movie adaptation of a book, they're always going to miss certain things, which is always a shame. But you can't have everything from those 300 pages put to life, otherwise you'd have a 5-hour long film. But
True.
I am a big fan. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was younger, I used to before the days of Facebook groups being the thing, I ran like a fan page. Yeah, I have told
you told me this. Yeah.
And it actually got quite popular. I think at one point it had about 30,000 likes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and like we were interacting like daily with like fans and like doing games and stuff. And this was all when I was at like 15, 16, so like I had the time to and stuff, like in between school and everything. To the point where I have a Mockingjay tattoo on my foot.
Yep.
And I went to see the new Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes the day it came out.
Yeah, how was that
I didn't
film?
dress up for it, but I didn't dress up now. I enjoyed the film. Again, you can't put everything that's in the book onto the screen, but I think they did a very good job of visualizing what Suzanne Collins had written, and they did a great job, especially seeing there was so much backlash with the fact that they split Mockingjay into 2 films.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the film. I thought the actors that played each character was great, and it was really good to sort of see like the visualization of Panem before how you see it in the Hunger Games series. Because we're starting at the 10th Hunger Games, before it's all been sort of hashed out, where it's almost teetering on, are we going to continue with doing this because no one's really watching, it's not really doing what we thought it would do, no one really cares. So it's good to sort of see that evolution, and it's just made me hungry for more, if I'm being honest. Like I want to see more. I want more of the universe almost, because it works. Like Panem works as like a setting for so many different themes, like you say, about capitalism and totalitarian governments and stuff like that.
Well, there you go. So if you're a big fan of the Hunger Games, you should watch the brand new film that came out. Unfortunately, this episode is not sponsored by.
This episode is not sponsored by Lionsgate.
But if you are working for Lionsgate and you are listening in on this, you are more than welcome to sponsor me. In fact, I will sell my soul for any company that wants a sponsor slot on here. Fuck, I'll show for Blackwater if I have to. Okay, I will say shit like, yeah, like, so what? They did a war crime, but who hasn't? Who hasn't done a war crime, once or twice?
Just a cheeky little war crime on a Saturday.
Exactly. And as you know, Jess, I'm a wanted war criminal.
I mean, who isn't? Who isn't at this point?
Who isn't?
What else is there to do on a Saturday at the moment?
I mean, speaking of, over the past like 7 years or so, you and everyone else has created quite a bit of Yaslore, haven't they?
In what respect?
Well, you know how every so often, like, you guys would just make up shit about me, and then we'd accept it to be the utmost truth, even though it like never happened.
Like how you're so heavily involved in sports.
Yeah, like how I'm so heavily involved in sports. Yeah, that can be considered one of the first pieces of Yaslore. Actually, I think the earliest bit of Yaslore, I would think.
Well, that stems from that Valentine's party we had at Helena's, wasn't it?
That's
where we
right.
were playing
Yeah.
Truth or Dare, and the dare was for you to sign up. Was it to put yourself forward as the vice president of sports for the society, the student council, whatever it's called?
Yeah. So the SU, the student union, had an election up for was it? It was like the top dog.
Basically, like the
Responsible.
cabinet, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
you
Like
have your president, your vice president, your social secretaries, your sports secretaries,
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
event secretary. Basically, like the cabinet.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a sports guy. Yeah, yeah. And we played Truth or Dare, and it got to me, and I picked Dare because I think at that point I picked like Truth like a few too many times, and also I was like getting pretty tired of having to answer truths about myself. So we so I picked a Dare, and obviously a Dare was for me to sign up as as the sports representative, and I remember I had my phone. It was like, yeah, because no, the reason why that happened was because I think someone else in the group got an email about it, right? And like a little bit before like we had the dare, and then it was their decision for me to pick to sign up as a
That was
sports
it. Yeah.
representative. That was it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And and so and do you want to take this part?
I mean, it's just sort of just gone down in history, really, because we were all sat there
Yeah.
watching you fill the application form in, and you had to give like a personal statement.
Yes, that's right. I had to give a person, and I had to give a reason as to why I wanted
Yeah.
it. And I wish I could remember who said the immortal line.
I can't remember who, for the life of me, said, I'm heavily involved in sports.
Like it's not just I was involved in sports or just like I was part of sports. No, I'm heavily
But
involved in
the
sports.
funny thing, obviously, about it is just it's so general. Like it.
Yeah, it's like as if I didn't know what sports
Yeah.
was beforehand, and I needed to do something like, yes, I am heavily involved in this
Like a
sport
robot
that
that's
two
trying to
people
act like
talk
a human
about.
society. Like, oh yes, I eat human food. Beep bop, beep bop. Like literally. Yeah.
Beep boop boop boop. Mark Zuckerberg smoking those meats.
So it
Yeah. So Mark Zuckerberg's also heavily. Yeah. So that's it. That's the first bit of Lash the
this is
Yaslore is that
true.
I am heavily involved in sports. But there's been so much since then. Like I don't know if you remember, or maybe you weren't there, but there was a time where I went to we were at the pub, and I went to the bar, and I came back, and like everyone had decided that I wasn't born. Instead, I would like
Oh yeah. I'd forgotten that.
like I came back. God, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but it was like so like we were all at the pub or whatever. We were chatting and talking. I went to the bar to get get a Dr. Pep because at the time they didn't have anything else except Dr. Pep. And then I came back and you guys were talking and I can't remember exactly how it got to it, but like you guys decided that I wasn't born. I instead like appeared from the ether to be with you guys.
Oh my gosh, I completely.
And everyone just like accepted it as fact. Like, yeah, that sounds real. That sounds like
Yep.
a thing that could happen. Oh, okay. Just retroactively change my entire like life story there.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much. And do you also remember when we were gonna get lunch or dinner or something, and we were talking about what to get, and someone mentioned Frankie and Benny.
Yeah,
And-
you're banned from like every Frankie and Benny's or
and-
something.
Yeah. I'm having Frankie and Benny's in like Birmingham, like West Midlands or whatever. And I remember that I'd already told you guys the story before. So someone in the group said, "Oh yeah, we can't go there because Yaseen's banned." And I was like, yeah, and we just moved straight on. And I remember at the time there was someone there who wasn't part of our circle, who was just like a friend of a friend. And I keep thinking back to that person. I'm thinking, what did
Yeah.
they think of that moment? Like what did they? Why did they heard that I was banned and everyone just moved past? Like, did they think that I was banned as an adult? Do they think
Context
I was banned
needed.
as a child? Like, are they do they still think to this day? Yeah, that Yaseen person, like they're banned from Frankie and Benny's. Wow, crazy! What they do to deserve that kind of thing?
Pretty much. Well, they must do.
They must do, yeah.
But also, like, respectfully, why would you want to go to Frankie and Benny's at 28 years old? Like,
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
who at this age actively goes, I need, let's go out for dinner tonight. What do you fancy? Do you fancy Nando's? No. Oh, okay. What about sushi? No. Shall we go for Mexican? No. What about Frankie and Benny's? Oh
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah. Let's go and listen to Happy Birthday 5 times in the space of an hour. Like, who's actively choosing that in adulthood?
It's so funny because every time I mention that I got banned from Frankie Fenez as a child, like the response of everyone else is like, "Oh yeah, that's probably a good thing. Oh yeah, it's probably better for you that you're banned from there." You know, it's like, oh okay, and yeah, like hearing people talk about Frankie Bennett, it's like it's like I mean the very concept of Frankie Benny's is so funny to me because it's not like it's an Italian place, right? It's an approximation
Well,
of
it's a New
American
York Italian
Italian.
place.
Yeah, it's a New York Italian place. But I'm like, we already have we are close to Italy, right?
We're quite
Like,
close to it. We're closer to Italy than New York is.
yeah, we also have like quote unquote authentic Italian restaurants
Yeah, there
in
are
this
far.
country.
If
Why
you were
would
going to go to a chain pizza place, you'd go to like Pizza Express over
yeah.
Frankie and Benny, surely.
Yeah, exactly. You go to something like ZZ's or Pizza Express or Ask Italian
Or
or
Bella
Bella
Italia,
Italian
yeah.
or one of those other places that have the word Italy in it for
Exactly.
some reason. Just to make sure. Like, why would you go to like this is a British version of an American version of Italian cuisine. Like, why would you choose to subject
I'm
yourself
sorry,
to
but
something that is
when you just say it like that, it's just so ridiculous.
because it's like what like it is not like it's not authentic. It's not American Italian cuisine. It is the British version of American Italian cuisine, right? And it's like I mean, but the thing is like, what is particularly like special about like
There's nothing special.
right? And not only that, but like apparently it just sucks in general. And also, like every time I mention it, someone has always mentioned the birthday party thing. Like, oh yeah, if you go there, someone's birthday is inevitably happening or
It is.
whatever. And I'm thinking, what like Frankie and Benny's doesn't sound like a real restaurant chain.
Do you
Like
know
if
what?
you
I can remember the last time I went to a Frankie and Benny's, right? And it was really late at night because I was going to the midnight screening of the Mockingjay first film, and that is the
it all comes
only
back to the Hunger Games.
yeah, it all comes back, it all centers back. But that's the only time I've been to a Frankie and Benny's where I've not heard someone sing Happy Birthday. But that's because I went there at 10 o'clock at night, and because it was the only place that was open that was selling food before I went to this midnight screening. You literally have to go to this place at 10 p.m. to not hear anyone sing Happy Birthday.
Frankie and Benny's is like part of like a British Gothic, I suppose, in that it exists in like a mysterious like it's a place that somehow everyone has experienced but no one wants to go to.
Yeah, it's almost like Fight Club, like you can't talk about it.
You can't talk about it. Whatever happens at Frankie and Benny's,
Everyone's
it stays there.
traumatized by Frankie and Benny's. Like everyone's got. Do you know what? We should have like a therapy group circle, like Frankie and Benny's Anonymous. Like, and we can all talk about our traumatizing stories.
Just like I would never trust a chain that has like two people's names in it,
Do you know?
because like you don't even know who the hell Frankie or Benny is.
No, we
right?
don't.
And also like is I was saying, is it Frankie's and Benny's, or is it Frankie and Benny's?
Oh, Illuminati confirmed right there. Like
Illuminati confirmed, right?
if you need proof, it's right there, just in that restaurant. It's a front. Honestly, it's a front.
It's a front. It's a front for something, I suppose, like those American sweet shops.
Yeah, they're a front. Money laundering.
Those are definitely fronts for money laundering. Like, there is no way that anyone could want that much American candy in the first place. Especially why would you eat American candy?
Literally, that was exactly what I was going to say. Why would you want to eat American sweets? Because they're shit anyway. Like they've got too much sugar in. We have far better alternatives in this country than whatever is. Yeah, just no.
Do you want to know something interesting about American candy? So their kind of Cadbury equivalent is the Hershey bar, right?
Yeah, and it's
And
awful.
it's awful, right? It tastes like vomit, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like I had one and I was like, this tastes really sickly.
Yeah, because
And
there's
that's
all the
because
hype, isn't there? You've got to try it because it's American and all the Americans love it, and then you're like, what am I eating?
what I'm eating. Well, the reason why it tastes like that is because Mr. Hershey was a bit of a penny pincher. So while chocolate in Europe and of course in the UK is made with fresh milk,
Hmm.
um, Mr. Hershey decided way back in, I don't know, like the 1400s. I don't really care. It was before I was born, so it's not. I'm not nothing that I care about. But anyway, back in like 1986 or whatever, I don't know. Um, it's probably like the 1800s. But anyway, Mr. Hershey decided that he would save money by using day-old milk in his chocolate. Because that would be way cheaper to buy in batch
That's
from
such an
farmers.
American way of thinking as well. Like, I'm more thinking about saving money, so therefore I'm going to use old milk.
Yeah. So it's day-old milk, so it's no longer fresh. And because it was day-old milk, it had that kind of that vomity acidic taste in it. But he used that milk, and he basically just used copious amounts of sugar and other ingredients to kind of cover up the taste of it.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that Hershey also, so the Hershey chocolate was just like fine, like people ate it or whatever. It was fairly popular. There was obviously other alternatives. But the thing is that Hershey's popularity only became so big during World War II because Hershey was part of the rations that were given to US soldiers. Uh,
Oh.
so because it became the kind of default chocolate choice, as soon as those GIs came back to USA and we won World War II against the fascists, who by the way have never come back in Europe ever. Um, when they came back, like, okay, well, everyone loves Hershey's because Hershey's is great. Hershey's is all that we ate in the war and it kept us going through.
Yeah.
So, Hershey's became immediately
It
popular.
reminds us of the good
And
old days.
it reminds us good as but because Hershey's became so popular, other chocolate. But so by the time after World War II, we'd basically perfected the art of preserving fresh milk, right? So there's no longer need to use day old chocolate. But because the acid taste had been kind of part of the Hershey's sort of like tastescape, so to speak, they kept it in even with the introduction of fresh milk. So, because it was Hershey was so popular, other chocolatiers decided to emulate the Hershey's acidic taste. So that meant all chocolates in the United States tasted kind of like
So
vomit.
they were using it as a blueprint.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And even though there's no actual need for that taste anymore, because we have found ways of preserving fresh milk for weeks at a time, the vomit taste is still there even to this day in Hershey's chocolate. And obviously other chocolatiers have kind of moved away from emulating the Hershey's taste, and there's always a resurgence in kind of a European and Canadian chocolate because they don't have they use fresh milk from reception kind of thing. But yeah, the quintessential Hershey's chocolate has that vomit taste that we dislike so much because Mr. Hershey was a money was a bit of a penny pincher, and also World War II happened.
Two did happen.
I imagine if a different chocolate was the choice for US World War II excursions, we might have a different story where Americans are also used to the taste of chocolate with fresh milk. But nope, they're used to taste of chocolate with weird acid that shouldn't really need to be there because the milk is fresh again. So yeah, that's where we got to now.
Wow. I've learnt something. Genuinely, I've learnt something. Literally, just I'm shocked, especially because now in this modern day and age, like it's with travel and being able to seeing how other places are doing things now. You can be like, oh, actually, that's better. Maybe we should try doing that. I don't know. They're just conditioned now to enjoy
Yeah,
Hershey's. We'll let them.
it's for the they deserve a little treat
Yeah.
for the fact they live in
Yeah,
America.
exactly.
Not like we're doing much better.
This is true.
But
This is true.
they still deserve a little treat.
Just a little treat. The cat can have a little salami as a
So
treat.
yeah, as a little treat. That's right. That's right. And That's what's most important. I think the cat having a little salami. I wish I could have a little salami actually right now. So, so Jess, you are also one of my oldest
This
sisters.
is true.
What longest serving sisters? You are part of the council of sisters, and of course one of chief sisters too.
I mean, as we go back within the Yaslore, we do have to sort of, remind everyone of the who is the best sister debate.
Yes, that's right. And not forgetting best brother, of course.
Yeah. Well, it was always about, because you always had more sisters than brothers, so
that's right.
It was always a thing between everyone at uni. It always came up as a truth in Truth or Dare was who is best sister.
Yes, who is best sister? And what did I say? I would always say something.
You would always come up with some politician's answer of skirting the question.
Yeah. That's right. That's true. I would say something that was totally an answer, but also didn't answer the question.
But made everyone nod and go, "Wow, yeah, you've answered our question."
You never ask a woman her age. You never ask a man his salary, and you never ask, Yaseen who their favorite sister is. But yeah, you're part of the council of sisters.
When do I get a hat? Do I get a hat at some point, or a badge, or? I feel like badges.
Badges, I think works. Yeah, badges. I mean, the badge is the one that's in your heart,
Yeah, but like a physical badge that I could put on my lanyard.
A physical badge, that just says what council of sisters on it.
Maybe best sister. Well.
Really now?
Maybe.
Really now? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Debates about who is best sister and best brother did get very heated. I do remember that Halsey wrote in my yearbook that she would kill every other sister so she could be best sister. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, if you did that, okay, you wouldn't be best sister because you would have committed murder. Like, it's you can't kill the best sister and then expect to take her place because you've killed the best sister. That would make you like the worst sister. In it.
Because you've therefore killed the rest of the council. So
yeah. Exactly. And actually, if you did that, you would stop becoming a sister, right? Like there really can't be a title as worst sister because then you just stop being a sister.
You're just not a sister. Yeah.
Just not a sister anymore. Yeah. Do you remember the stated goals of the Council of Sisters?
No, I don't. Can you remind me of them?
Oh, I asked you because I thought you might know, but I'm trying to remember what.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh,
well,
okay.
to be honest, like, I mean, the whole sister debate was many years ago now, and I've had a lot of sleep since then.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, we've known each other now for 7 years, so.
Yeah, we're gay now, so yeah. I think at least one of the state's goal was to vet any future 3D waifus.
Yes. That was it. We would always, if you were ever interested in dating someone, we would always, do
the FBI shit.
Do the FBI shit that, we'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've done that at least like a handful of times. But I mean yeah. Jess, I think Jess is also very important to me in that she will translate kind of elements of social interaction that I just do not understand. Like I will very, very occasionally ask you, Jess, what does it mean if someone does this? And Jess will very clearly and very succinctly explain to me what the fuck is going on, kind of thing. Because
I am the real life version of the Facebook group. What does it mean?
What does it mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The bounty of someone like Jess here is that she is a very direct person, and she doesn't mince her words, and she says what she means, and that means that I can understand her very clearly, and I can expect I know what to expect from Jess. But unfortunately, some people aren't like that, which makes me very confused, and I kind of don't understand. But Jess is very good at understanding that kind of stuff. So
especially in dating, because people say one thing when they're just sort of saying it to mean something else. So
and that has always confused me. I do remember that one time where I expressed to you that I was interested in this woman, and then I did a bunch of stuff that wasn't quite appropriate.
We won't go into the details, but we won't go into the details, but I did say, like, this is not acceptable. Like, you can't do that to someone.
Not to mention, I didn't actually like do anything like super like awful to her or whatever.
No,
I just
yeah,
kind of,
it was, you didn't murder anyone or anything like that, or
it was just like I just did like a social faux pas kind of thing.
yeah.
But she was acting in a way that I considered very irrational. And then when I expressed to Jess, she was like, "Oh well, this is kind of what's happening, is that this person is saying all these things to you, but the way that she's acting in regards to them is actually saying a completely different thing, and therefore you should just not engage with this person anymore." And you know what? I've never engaged with them again, because Jess's word is kind of important to me. I feel like I'm a dodo, and you're like, I have no natural predators, so so Jess is like the ranger, I suppose, in this example, the ranger of dodos.
I was gonna say, do I get a cute ranger's outfit? And then I realised I could probably
Oh
look
my
like a Hitler
God.
Youth person.
Yeah, I think you might. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stay
one,
clear of a park ranger outfit for fear of misrepresentation of what the
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, the analogy
Okay.
works though.
It actually works. I am a dodo, and you're the park ranger. Of course, everyone else also is kind of like in that park ranger role too. It takes a village to raise a
dodo.
Dodo. Yeah, it takes a village to raise a dodo. Do you want to go through some of these audience questions that I've picked up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love a bit of audience interaction. Let's go.
Okay, cool. So, this first question is. So I'm going to read these from the first to last.
Yeah.
I guess that's how questions work.
Yeah, I guess you could go last. You could go last to first, just to mix it up a little bit.
Well, that means I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom and then up as I go. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, so the first question is from Jelly, that is at neku@tech.lgbt. The question is, opinion on the skibbity toilet.
On the what?
The skibbity toilet.
What the fuck's a skibbity toilet? Do I have to Google something right now?
No, don't Google it.
Okay.
We can just move on.
I'm Googling that.
If you don't know what it is.
If I Google it, do I have to Google it on incognito mode?
No. It's just. I can't explain. It's not like. Okay, it's just absurdly weird. It's kind of like, how to explain. Like, do you remember? You know how? I'm trying to figure like a thing that we both know from our jaded millennial history. It is.
Like
okay.
Smosh?
You know how "Don't hug me, I'm."
Okay.
No, it's nothing like Smosh. You know how like "Don't hug me, I'm scared" is a thing.
Yeah.
Remember that? Imagine that, but like with a toilet, and there's a guy in the toilet, and just look it up after we're done. But we can just move straight on to the next question.
No strong opinions. We'll go with that.
No strong opinions. Sure. Next question is from Veilphonia at muslim.fetty.kirigami.me. So her question is, opinion on music streaming. Jess, you have an iPod actually, don't you?
Bought a lot of music and would download it onto my iPod, and I guess as well I got joy in that, in the whole of like, because you only had so much space, like what albums do I take off to put new albums on, etc. And very much an iPod stan until quite recently, because a lot of the bands I listen to aren't well known. Like I don't want to say, oh, I'm not like other girls, I don't listen to popular music, because I obviously fucking do. But like a lot of the bands I listen to aren't necessarily mainstream, don't make a lot of money, actually rely on like merch sales to make any sort of money for an income, basically. So I have recently moved to streaming, just more for the convenience of it, and because I bought wireless headphones, so it made sense that I moved to streaming. I'm massively against the serious underpaying of songs to artists, because I just think it's atrocious that they get paid like 0.00 pence per play, basically. So it only means that the rich get richer, sort of thing. But then I do support my bands by still buying albums at shows, sort of things. If I go to a show, because I still go to gigs quite regularly, so I will go and buy a CD at a show and support the bands that way. I guess streaming is quite a good thing as well, because you can get new music for those bands that I enjoy instantly. Like, it will tell you, oh hey, like this band's released a new album. I'm like, great, listen to it now, sort of thing. It does kind of take away against the excitement of downloading something when it releases. Like, I remember when I lived in Cyprus, Don Broco's new album came out whilst I was out there.
Yes.
It was their album.
Oh God, the cover is in my head right now.
I think it was their album Technology. It was their third album that came out whilst I was out there, and I remember, like, I pre-ordered it, and I was suffering with really bad insomnia at the time because I'd gone through a bit of a bad breakup before I went out there, so I was really struggling with my mental health and not sleeping. And I remember being like, I'm going to stay up to download this new album and listen to it. And then I realised that because I was 2 hours ahead, I had to wait until 2 o'clock in the morning to listen to it, because it was being released in UK time. So Cyprus is 2 hours ahead, so I had to wait until 2 a.m. So I had to wait 2 hours to listen to it. It was fine, I wasn't going deep or anything like that, but that excitement of staying up to listen to it, and then when it downloaded, to then listen to the full album in its entirety, was actually quite nice, and I haven't really done that since. So yeah, like, I'm against the big corporate side of it, as I think most people should be, but I appreciate its convenience, and still, support the bands that I listen to in alternative ways with buying merch as and when I can. Whereas before, I wouldn't have bought merch. I wouldn't have bought merch, but I would have paid for the iTunes to download. But now I'm like buying the merch instead as an alternative. So yeah, I guess that's my take on it.
Jess, you've made many new you've made many
new
allies after saying that stuff. Yeah. Like it is very rare to find someone who still uses. Because again, it all comes back down to the rule of the headphone jack, right? Because
this is it. My phone got rid of the headphone jack, so
you had no choice but to buy Bluetooth earbuds, and then when I moved from my previous phone to the Pixel, I lost the headphone jack, and I was like, oh, okay, so now I got to buy new headphones, and I guess for you that meant that you now had another pair of headphones to lose, and it's like, well, now I can't use this with my iPod and all this kind of stuff.
It's getting it all centralized,
yeah, which is very annoying. But you have made many allies, I think. Like, it is, because I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, I used to be very meticulous in, I would purchase albums as well. And I'd be very, very meticulous in tidying up my musical library, changing the cover art to high resolution, making sure it was all tagged with the metadata and stuff like that. And then I think, it was weird because I think sometime around about, like, gosh, it would have been before I met you. So I think I would have been, 2015, 2016, I think. I kind of got onto the Spotify premium train only because of the student discount. And then that was it kind of thing. And then, of course, now I have the Spotify family plan, which I do share with my family, because we are one pataphysical family, aren't we? we're one. We are a family. Spotify can't change that part. But
this is true.
So, and obviously in the same way as you, if I ever go to, support them by going to the gigs, if they do ever turn up in Birmingham, which they very rarely do, but and buying the merch too. I think that is a good kind of middle ground, I suppose. If you're
Yeah.
streaming, you should buy the merch and the CDs and whatever to show your support while taking advantage of the conveniences of streaming. But obviously, with streaming and stuff, it all comes back to this idea that you don't really own anything, like, and twice it has happened to me where the audio on the streaming platform is changed. So, for example, from first to last, do you remember them?
From who? Sorry.
From first to last.
No.
No. Okay. God, I'm so hipster. The guy who became Skrillex, Sonny Moore.
Oh yeah.
Did you know he was in a band before he became Skrillex?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good band. Anyway, so their first album, which is called Dear Diary, My Teen Angst Has a Body Count, which is a reference, of course, to Heathers. So they changed. So on Spotify, they removed the album and replaced all the tracks with a completely different version.
Right.
So before it was like a clean studio version, and then they replaced them with like a raw version, like a demo version almost.
Got you.
And it sounds completely different, and it's so bad that I just don't listen to the album anymore because it just straight up sucks to hear. It is like listening to nails on a chalkboard kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then another example is the song "Spicy" by Two Tone Disco and Milk, and they changed the pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus has a tritone in it, so it goes dun dun dun, like the starting like the lights do in a race, right? That tone. Yeah. So they changed that from something that sounds like the beginning of a race to just three plain tones. And I was like, why? Why? They patched the song, basically. They patched the song and they made it worse. And that's the thing with any kind of streaming platform, is that you don't control the experience 100%. They can edit and change things whenever they want. There's been times on streaming services, for example, where they would change a bit of dialogue after they've released it online, even though, just because they can. And, it comes out of everything. You can, you rent the house, you rent the flat you live in, you rent the music you listen to, you rent the films you watch. And with things like films and so on, it is much, much harder to get a physical release, or at least a digital release that you can claim as your own. Because they're all releasing on streaming these days.
This is true.
And especially with stuff that are like originals, Netflix originals, they'll never come out on Blu-ray or whatever, or digital.
Yeah,
they'll live forever on Netflix.
You can only watch it if you subscribe and pay that monthly fee.
Exactly. And that really is kind of like, we're moving into a level of kind of rentier capitalism where owning something is only for people who have the connections to do so. Which is why the recent sale of Bandcamp.
Like a lot of artists use Bandcamp that I listen to. Well, they used to.
Yeah.
And like they would do things like pay what you want, and you would literally pay what you want for the album, whether it's a penny or £5 or whatever.
Yeah. So obviously Bandcamp was kind of like the alternative to buying CDs, but obviously it was digital and stuff. And Bandcamp was sold off by Epic Games, the guys who make Fortnite. Yes, that's right. The Fortnite people own going to Bandcamp. I know, it's crazy, it's weird. Anyway, there's a whole color fish. But yeah, so Epic Games decided to sell that to this group called Songtrader, who are a music licensing company. While that sounds better, Songtrader is basically like the music equivalent of, well, they basically rip out the soul of anything they touch, I suppose. So when they bought Bandcamp, they basically like terminated a whole bunch of workers, and they changed some of the terms and conditions and stuff like that, and they won't recognize the union. So the one place where you could actually be sustainable in terms of your music choices is now in the hands of some corporate behemoth that doesn't actually really care about music. And obviously, the real answer is, well, this is all the fault of capitalism. Like, why shouldn't art? The thing is that art shouldn't need to be monetized for someone to make a living, right? You should just be able to make art. and not have to worry about
Yeah.
whether it has value or whatever. Because if you consider like the private art market, for example, there are pieces going for millions and millions of pounds, and the only reason why they're worth so much is because some rich dude says it's worth so much. When in reality, all art should have value based on what it is, and not because of what some auction house in London says it is. Anyway, that's the capitalist portion of the Yascast episode done. So the next question is from elk at tatenoise.cafe. Who would win in a fight? Between us.
Between us.
Between us.
I feel probably I would, just based on my
I agree.
my rugby expertise.
Yeah, but I'm heavily involved in sports, so I could probably.
Oh, you fuck!
But no, Jess, you did do rugby quite a bit, so yeah, you could totally beat me in that front.
But I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to get in a position where we would be fighting. So
of course,
we would try every other method first before we did, go out into the streets at dusk and take our tops off and bare knuckle it type thing.
yeah, of course. And also, we've got to play rock paper scissors right now.
Do we? Oh God. Okay. Yeah, but you could just lie.
Okay, but would I lie to you, Jess?
Oh, you could. You could for the purposes of winning.
Have I ever lied for the purposes of winning?
I hope not.
The only times I've lied for the purpose of winning is when we're playing Jackbox, and that's
true.
That's about lying. So
yeah, that is
I would never
lying.
lie to you.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I would never lie to you about this. Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Paper.
I got paper.
Okay. Do you want to go again?
Okay. Best of 3.
Okay. Well, best of 3. Instead of saying go, just say like the thing you're gonna throw at me. Okay.
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 What?
3, 2, 1. Paper. Oh.
Rock.
Yes, I win. There we go.
Damn it.
Do you
We said best of 3. So
best of 3. Okay. Last one.
Okay.
Okay.
1,
3, 2, 1. Paper.
Scissors.
Okay, it's a tie.
Okay.
It's a tie.
Everyone wins. Everyone's happy.
Everyone wins. Yay. Okay. This is from Lizzie at brain.worm.pink. For both of you, if you could be any non-crab crustacean, what would it be?
Any non-crab crustacean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of crustaceans that aren't crabs. Can I Google it while you think of yours?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Of course.
I'm just thinking,
Google it. Yeah.
all I know is crab.
I mean, there's crab, there's lobster, there's shrimp, there's woodlouse, krill, copepods, barnacles, crayfish.
I like crayfish. I'd go with crayfish just because I like to taste the taste of crayfish is nice. It's actually probably one of my favourite fish, like seafoods. Obviously, it's not a fish; it's a crustacean. But like my seafood options.
I was going to be a crustacean too, actually. Not
because
crustacean.
That's the whole,
of course, I mean,
the whole point of this conversation was to establish which crustacean. All of them. Every crustacean.
All of them. Every crustacean. I would also be a crayfish.
Do you know what? This has just reminded me of that meme of the menstruation crustacean station. The crustacean menstruation station, and it's literally the toy lobster and holding a platter of tampons, and I'm like, I feel like every bathroom needs that. Every bathroom.
Every bathroom needs that. Every bathroom needs period products.
But specifically,
make
specifically the menstruation station. Yeah.
Station. Yep, I agree. And the government should also remove the tax on period products.
Do you know what? My first ever lesson on tax was period products. Like when I was a child, I remember my mum. I asked her what VAT was. Because it was a word that was on something, and I was like, "Mother, what's VAT?" And then we got talking about the period tax and the pink tax as well, and I was like, "Oh, the world is a lie. Everything is not equal." This is 9 years old.
The next question is, yeah, it's so fascinating to think that you're taught that everyone is kind of equal, and then you have moments where it's
Everything
like,
is not
oh yeah,
equal.
by the way, women pay a tax. Everything's not equal, like especially when it comes to women. Everything is based on this average person, which AKA means a straight white able-bodied man who is like 6 foot tall, 180 centimeters tall, who weighs like
Is he single?
probably, but everything is based around this person, and like things from like toilet space, for example. So when they're building uh, single sex toilets, right? They usually allocate the same amount of floor space to both chambers, I suppose. So the men's toilet would get like 20 square meters, and the women's toilet would also get 20 square meters, and that sounds fair, right? Except not really, because men's toilets have urinals, which means they can have twice as much throughput as the women's toilets. And not only
This
that,
is
but
true.
women also have the caring responsibilities and are also more likely to be disabled. So they spend more time in toilets on average than men do. So in reality, women should have more toilet space than men. But because design considerations don't care about this kind of bullshit, both toilets are exactly the same size, even though they shouldn't be. And this is kind of example of the things that, well, actually, treating people the same isn't treating them fairly.
Isn't equality.
Isn't
No.
equality, and also when you think about it, if you desegregate both men and women's toilets, men can use the women's toilets, but women can't necessarily use the men's toilets because of the presence of urinals, right?
Yeah.
So,
Also, as well, like just what you were saying about the size as well is like, just from like my perspective,
yeah,
like if I'm on my period, I need to maneuver, and if there's not the space, then that can be hard.
yeah,
That's not a pleasant
exactly,
experience.
yeah.
Like if I'm out in public.
Yeah, and the stalls for both men and women's stalls are the same size. Even though, like you said, they need to be bigger, especially because, again, like I said, women are more likely to be in caring roles, so they would need a bigger space to hold their child while they're pooping or something. I don't know, but it speaks to a fundamental way that actually, same is not the same as equal.
Yeah.
Different people have different needs and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I think it's obviously the solution is to have gender neutral toilets that can be for all genders, rather than having them be segregated by gender in the first place.
But
Or
then
just have
they would probably be designed with the ideal that you initially painted of
exactly,
that person
yeah.
that has those dimensions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the world is unfair to women by a huge margin, and yeah, we don't really think about it because we've all been gaslit into thinking that it's totally normal that women's toilets are, in essence, smaller than men's toilets. Yep. And that's just one of many, 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 many things.
We don't have all day to discuss them, unfortunately, but I would love to.
I would love to, but I think just that is enough. Anyway, next question is from Susul at miski.hereinin.org. How many hands does Yassi have at time of recording?
2? Is this an in-joke that I'm not privy to? Okay.
No. How many hands do I have?
2
Jessica?
hands. One left and one right.
Okay, sure. God, how many questions do I have, by the way, on this? There are actually quite a few questions. Well, I think we might be able to get through all of them, perhaps. Coughing baby or thermonuclear bomb? I don't know what that means.
Like,
I'm gonna look these up.
Which is the worst?
Which is the worst? Yeah, coughing baby or thermonuclear
obviously
bomb?
The baby. Like, obviously, I feel like I'm dead if the bomb goes off, but I've got to sit through that coughing baby. Oh, do you know what?
Being dead is better than a baby.
What? The last time I came back up to Liverpool from going home, I was on a train. I was on the train, the Avanti from Euston to Lime Street, and there was quite a young, I would want to say, under 3-month-old baby on that train, and they were quiet. Dear. They weren't screaming or anything like that, but you could smell the milky farts. You could smell like the baby farts, and the whole carriage stunk. It was disgusting.
Oh.
Yeah, so no. I'm just thinking of that now, and it was not great. Yeah.
Ouch. That sucks. Now, the next question is, would you rather a coughing bomb or a thermonuclear baby?
What type of bomb, though, does it... Yeah, but,
A
like, what does
coughing
that mean? What does it mean? Like, when it goes off, it coughs? Like, it's just like a... Yeah?
Maybe it makes you cough, like
a virus. Maybe the do you know
like a
what? I'm
virus?
going to go with
No,
the
like a-
thermonuclear baby just out of curiosity, because I feel like the bomb's not good. I feel like we can experiment on the baby and see if
let's
it
go
ends
with
up
that.
like Homelander.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Does it develop superpowers?
Superpowers. You know,
Do we have soups?
there's a surprising amount of people who believe that Homelander is the good guy.
I mean, isn't that the point of the show? Is to bring those people to light?
Yeah, but it's like they never watch. It's like I'll be watching a completely different.
They've never watched it.
Yeah, it feels like they've never. It feels like they're not watching the show. They feel like, oh yeah, every episode is like, wow, Homelander is a really bad guy. Homelander is doing bad stuff. Oh my god, Homelander, why? He's just a really bad person. And their takeaway from this is, yeah, wow, Homelander is truly the Giga Chad in this entire thing. How?
But he is.
Oh yes, that's right. Of course, Homelander is literally me. He's my Patrick Bateman or whatever.
Literally me.
Oh yeah, we did read and watch American Psycho, didn't we, at university?
We did, yeah, we did both.
What did you think of the book?
Book club.
Do you remember the book?
I don't really remember the book, if I'm being honest.
The book was very boring, and I think that was by design. It was interesting and boring at the same time. But the film, I think, is more sane. I'm sure you remember the film more than the book, right?
I mean, it's probably one of the most memeable movies at this point. It is. Like, it's definitely up there.
It's so memeable. And it's also really funny. I watched it again fairly recently, and it holds up pretty well. Kristen Bell is just a very, very good actor in that film. I really...
Oh, yeah. The business card scene is iconic,
It's such an iconic scene. And of course the funny thing about that is like the sound effects, like when they're whipping out the cars, it makes like a sword noise.
Yep.
And also the fact that all the cards are basically the same, but like, which is obviously a commentary on the fact that all these guys are basically interchangeable with each other.
Mm-hmm. They're all just copy-paste versions.
Yep, they're all palette swaps. Well, not much of a palette.
They're all finance bros, aren't they?
No,
Are they finance bros?
Yeah, they're finance
bros, aren't they?
Yeah. The entire film, we don't actually see any of them doing any work, which is pretty true to accurate to how finance bros are.
That is literally a finance bro. Like, there's a guy that he's obviously TikTok famous, but he keeps cropping up on my Instagram reels. I don't do TikTok. I should point that out for the pod. And he keeps cropping up, and his TikToks are literally him being a finance bro, and all he's doing is going out for coffee, and it's obviously satire, but like, it's literally me.
Literally me. Yeah, and again, Patrick Bateman suffers from the same thing as Homelander, is that because he's a very, very good characterization, right?
Yeah.
People identify with him and think that he's the hero, the Giga Chad. And whereas the film and the book are basically about, look at how pathetic Patrick Bateman is, right? I mean, the film goes to great lengths to have the other characters repeatedly call Patrick Bateman a dork and insult him. I mean, at the very end of the film, the lawyer basically says, yeah, Patrick Bateman is a fucking awful, like, pretty lame person. And it's like, but no, Patrick Bateman is the Giga Chad. Like, do these people like understand what they're watching? Like, do they not get? Do they not get it? Like, am I watching a completely different thing to them? Like, Patrick Bateman is not the good guy here. He is
not the good guy.
He is an insecure dork, right? Like, for whatever. Like, yeah, he's a psychopath and he murders people, whatever. But like, at the end of the day, he's just a dork, Like, he just has nothing. going on, right?
Yeah, he's got no personality.
You know, the beginning of the film where they regurgitate stuff about like some like about was it Sri Lanka, as I say in the film, like that's obviously just him parroting something that he had read rather than like an
Yeah.
actual opinion, you
Yeah,
know?
he's got no organic thoughts or feelings. He's just
Yeah,
saying what everyone expects him to say.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't understand why people think Patrick Bateman is such a cool guy when he is very, very much not cool. Like like besides the murder, he's just boring as shit. And that's what the book says. The book is, if you read the book, right, Patrick Bateman is just a very, very dull, boring person. You know,
Yeah.
and I think the whole point of the book is for you to not like read it essentially. It's like Brett is like, look, this guy is so unendearing. He is so boring. He is so like so much of a loser that it's you shouldn't even really be reading this book. Yeah, Brett, he's a good writer. He wrote another book called God, I'm trying to I remember the name of it.
He
Um,
wrote another book.
he wrote another book, and I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was a very, very good book, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Sorry, where were we? Next question.
Next question. Yeah,
Next
why not?
question. Next question. This is from bard@transfem.social. I would like to hear both your thoughts on whether being chief sister automatically makes Jessica the best sister.
I mean, that's really down to opinion, isn't it? Like,
Yes, so what's your opinion?
yeah, I would maybe I would say yes. Like, if I'm top, then surely that means I'm best. But I don't wanna brag or anything like that either, and be like, oh yes, this is my position type thing. I'm just your friend at the end of the day.
Didn't you say earlier in this episode that you were the best sister?
Well, I am the best sister, but
My opinion on this.
I'll leave it to the listeners to decide if they think I'm best sister.
Yeah, sure. Right. My answer to this question is.
Are you going to give a
Ooh.
long politicky answer that you're going to avoid the question again?
Let's move
on to the next question.
Let's move on to the next question.
That's twice now you've been quiet for like 3 whole seconds. So, yeah, next question, please.
Next question is from Evie. Oh my God, Yaseen has an honest to God real person on their podcast.
Yeah, we know each other in IRL. We met IRL. We didn't even like meet online first and then meet IRL. Like some of your other friends, like Hummus.
Like
we
Hummus,
love Hummus.
yeah. We love Hummus.
But like, yeah, we met IRL first and here we are.
Here we are. Our next question is from Yas. Oh, that's me. Oh, this isn't a question. And this is also from me. Jess isn't a trans girl, but I'm sure she could meow anyway.
What? What is that's not a question.
No, it's not a question. It's a statement that I put.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. Do you want to meow? It's up to you.
Not particularly.
Okay, well there we go. That's fine. Next question is cat or fox?
Oh, I'm definitely a cat person, but I do like foxes. Did I tell you about the time when I came home? This was when I was back living in Portsmouth. I'd gone out and I wasn't drunk, but I'd had a few, so my faculties weren't all there, but in a state or anything like that. So I was happy to walk home, and I saw a cat in the road and I started making the puss noises to summon the cat to me because I love a cat.
Sure.
I think cats are great. And as I got closer to it, I realised it was a fox. I shit you not, like,
and did
literally, like, as I got closer, I was just like, oh no, I should not have been like summoning this animal to me because it probably might have rabies. So
oh yeah,
it sort of
real
looked
life
at me
do have
and just sort of like it wasn't scared of me, but it just sort of avoided me as I got closer. But as I realised, I was like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. But foxes are cute though. Foxes are cute.
Foxes are cute. Yeah. You just remind me. Actually, I read this novel, called Being Human, by Paula whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The book centers around a woman who lives in suburban London. So she recently got separated from her partner, and she's living by herself. And the book is very strange because this woman starts kind of like getting like giving attention to this fox that appears in her back garden and around the neighborhood and stuff. And throughout the entire like book, she starts to like fall in love with the fox.
Right.
And yeah, it gets really, really weird.
Yeah.
It starts getting weirdly kind of like she starts like thinking like weirdly erotic things about the fox, and I'm like reading this book thinking, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
What am I reading here? And honestly, it was such an impressive read. It made me very, very uncomfortable. Okay, but the uncomfortableness pushed me on to like read through to the end because I'm like, why? What is the point of making me feel this way?
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, she basically kind of like has a breakdown or whatever. But yeah, it was a very enthralling read, actually.
Yeah. Okay. But she falls in love with a fox,
That's
though.
yeah. She falls in love with a fox, dude. It's quite fucked up. That's quite a fucked up story for me to have read of my own volition, kind of thing. I can only blame myself, for this one.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Oh yeah. My answer to the question. I like cats too.
Yeah.
And foxes.
Yeah.
I think both of them. I think of them quite equally.
Yeah.
Obviously. Which do you prefer, cheesecakes or brownies?
Brownies. That's a no-brainer. That's like that's like my go-to pud if that's on the menu of like a restaurant. That I'm ordering pud, then I wouldn't normally order pud, but if I see like a warm chocolate brownie with ice cream on the menu, I'm like, fuck yeah, that is getting ordered, because I wouldn't normally. I'm more of a starter and a main type person.
Yeah,
because
me too.
most puds on a menu are just sort of, I don't want to say boring,
Meh.
but yeah, just a bit uninspired. But brownies is definitely one, and churros as well. If that's on the menu, then all over that.
True. You know my answer to this question, don't you, Jess?
Is brownies?
No, it's cheesecake, Jess. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you eat cheesecake in my life.
Wait, what?
Like, I swear, every time we've been out and we've got pud, you've never gotten cheesecake. Like, hands down.
But I love cake.
Yeah, but like cheesecake though, like.
Yeah. I love cheesecake.
Really? I honestly could have sworn.
Wait. So wait, that's crazy. I mean, to us, I think of all the times we've gone out to eat,
maybe brownie was the only viable option.
Yeah. I feel like cheesecake was never really an option, or if it was like mid-tier.
What's your favorite type of cheesecake then?
Well, I mean, obviously the classic vanilla is always a good mainstay.
Yeah, like a really good vanilla if that's done well. Oh yeah, fuck me up, daddy.
But I do have, but I do have quite a preference for the Basque style cheesecake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do quite like those, just because it's quite a novelty, because it's very rare to have Basque style cheesecake. It's mostly the kind of plain New York style cheesecake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But if we're having New York style cheesecake, obviously vanilla is a good go. But I'm partial to kind of like a lemon.
Yeah, that's fair. I quite like a Biscoff cheesecake.
Oh yeah,
like where Biscoff's becoming popular now.
Shit. Third question, meow.
Meow. There we go. Next question.
We
fly through these now.
How does Jessica feel about resurrecting the Yascast, which has been officially cancelled until this very post? Well, yeah, I mean, Thomas, So it's like I said to you, like I didn't know how well it would take off before I introduced it into the like into like this is all the episodes beforehand were just kind of like, oh yeah, this would be like a thing to do, and maybe like I don't know, we'll see where it goes. And then when I came to see you, I was like, well, maybe it'd be a good idea to have Jess on, and I explained like the whole thing. I was like, okay, and then you were like, yeah, sure, let's do it, and now we're here.
Yeah, so honestly, like this is all brand new to me in terms of this being a part of your life. So if it did get cancelled for whatever reason, probably would believe you, like because I had no idea this existed until 6 days ago.
Well, there we go. You are. I mean, this is the second like core really. So you're like the headline act.
Yeah, I am.
For the.
I'm the Foo Fighters, baby.
You are the Foo Fighters. So yes, you were resurrected the Yascast, even though it was never done in the first place.
I hope people like me.
I mean, I like you.
So therefore
everyone else should like you. It's like mandatory. And what is the most Yaseen thing that Yaseen has ever done?
You can't put it down to a singular thing. Like, you really, Yaz is a phenomenon. Like, it's just everything. Like, I'm just like all of the things. Like the picture of Jamie from Movie Club. Like, the sister thing. The Hitler did nothing wrong always coming up into conversation. Everything we've said on Jackbox, like it's just like everything is like, yeah.
Yeah, Yaseen is a phenomenon.
Yeah, Yaseen is an experience. Everything Yaseen does is the most Yaseen thing, pretty much.
I mean, you being here is probably is a
yeah,
Yaseen
definitely.
Moment, I suppose. What are your favorite types of soup? This is from Bluebee at EP.zone.
I don't like soup. This is controversial, but like, I'm not really a soup. It is controversial because so I work in a lab, right, and I work with maybe 60 people in total, and I see people heating up their soup in the microwave in the staff room, and I stand there and I just go, I would rather starve than have soup for lunch. Like, I really would. And it's sad because the sentiments of having like a soup when you're ill just like is so appealing. But I don't. If I had to pick, it would be maybe a chicken noodle or like a ramen. But then that's not soup, then, is it? That's ramen. But then chicken noodle, I don't know.
Well, it's chicken noodle soup, right? So I suppose that counts.
Maybe. Oh, actually, minestrone's not bad. But yeah, I would rather. Yeah, it's just not really for me. I'm gonna get cancelled now, aren't I? Because I said I don't like soup. I think as well because I've had so many bad experiences with soup where it's been bad soup that it's just put me off soup in general. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Totally. My favorite kind of soup. I mean, I'm good with chicken sweet corn soup. I do like a rich tomato soup, though. I think for me that's quite like...
I guess like if a tomato soup's been done well, it can be bloody delicious, I must say. But getting the quality just isn't.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Because I think for me, because I feel, I mean, honestly, like I'm kind of with you on the soup in a way, because like I feel like soup is just way too much water.
Yeah.
Like hot water with ingredients inside it, right? Whereas tomato soup is different because it's rich and flavorsome, and like minestrone soup as well. And tomato soup with a good
the bread. You've got to have like thick, crusty bread with loads of butter. But then that's not the soup. Then that's just dipping bread into a sauce at that point.
I'm not much of a like tomato person. Like I dislike having raw tomatoes in like salads and burgers and stuff, and I don't like tomatoes in like most anything. But like if it's like a cooked tomato or something, or like tomato sauce, tomato soup, tomato pasta sauce, tomato on pizza, I'm okay with that. As long as it's like not like a whole tomato or it's not cooked, then I'm not going to eat tomatoes. Like tomatoes, mushrooms, and prawns. Those are the three things
you're
that I am
anti-mushroom. I'm
not a fan of.
pro-mushroom. I don't like raw onion.
Yep, and you
Cooked
don't like
onion's
onions.
fine. Raw onion is an absolute no. If it's on a
Do you like raw
salad,
onions?
the salad's not being eaten at all because the onion flavour just infects everything else and just tastes of onion.
Yep. I don't like raw onions either, actually, but for that matter. Yeah, because I remember a few times we'd gone out to eat, and some
You just see my disgusting
you're
face
disgusted.
as they bring out the dish, and I'm just like, absolutely not.
Because I remember one time we ordered something from someplace, and you specifically,
As we did, we always ordered something from someplace.
do you? I think we were at the library together and we ordered food, right? At the university.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we ordered food from someplace, as we do. And you specifically said no tomatoes, so no onions. And guess what? It had onions. And you were so upset. And I was like, look, I'm gonna contact whoever it was that gave us, I think it was like delivery or whatever. And I said, look, she said no onions. And I think they gave us.
She did.
And they gave us a refund on that portion. That's good, at least.
Yeah, that's a common thing that happens with me when I order stuff on like Uber Eats or Deliveroo. Like if I say no onions and it comes with onions, I'm like, I'm a bit better now. Like I don't. It's annoying and I get frustrated and I do still complain, but like it doesn't mean like I'm not going to eat it. Like I will just sort of scrape it out and just not enjoy it as much. But like there was a time where literally I would just be like, no, I'm not eating
that at all. Nope. If you found a button labeled Open Developer Menu, would you press it?
Probably, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, me too.
Why am I not meant to?
No, not really. No, and users aren't supposed to press. So I guess in this example, for example, in this scenario, it basically like if you were like just going around like reality, and this button appeared to press developer mode. So developer mode will basically open up access to like system functions, essentially things that you're not
the back end,
like the back end. Yeah. So you can mess around with reality, I suppose, in its glory. Yeah, I would press that button. Why not?
Yeah, just to see, just out of curiosity.
And this question is from Andy. Hey, Jessica and Yaseen, what's yours least favorite Pokemon?
Oh, this is where I get cancelled because I'm not really a Pokemon person. So,
that's fine.
I'm gonna have to just not answer this question. Leave it for you to say.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, my least favorite Pokemon has to be I don't know. I don't think I have a least favorite Pokemon.
I have a favorite.
What's your favorite?
Clefairy.
Oh, that is so you.
Yeah.
My favorite is Porygon too, because it's nice and round and cute looking. It will give you epilepsy apparently, but no, I can't imagine a Pokemon that would be my least favorite. I mean, I played pretty much most of the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
But I don't think of anything that's my least favorite. Nothing comes to mind. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, sorry we can't answer that for you.
We have only a couple more questions left, so that's good. So, this is from Experiencer at lethalLava.land. Rate the Spaghetti Junction.
What, is in the one in Birmingham?
Yeah.
I've been on it once, and I don't really. And do I remember it? I remember being on it. I don't remember the experience of it. I mean, it's unnecessarily chaotic. Like Birmingham's chaotic enough at the end of the day. Does it really need Spaghetti Junction? Not really. Does it?
My well, perhaps, I suppose. My take on Spaghetti Junction is that it is a marvel of engineering. It really shouldn't exist because we shouldn't have built so many fucking motorways in this country.
Exactly.
But I mean, as a piece of engineering, it is insane that it exists. It is a marvel of engineering.
Absolutely.
It just shouldn't really. It doesn't really. It just shouldn't be here.
No, I agree. It's kind of like the eighth wonder of the world, really. Like it shouldn't be here,
except
but it
in this case, like it's exactly. Last question is: how often does Yassi yas all over the place?
I just constantly. It's just a never-ending. Even during sleep, they still never end. Yeah, we had a ground. We've gone.
Surely, you're right. That is all the questions I have. Actually, that's very good. Amazing. We made it. We made it to the end. And just before we wrap this up, Jess, you remember the PayPal incident?
Do you know what? That was going to be one of my questions I was going to ask you was, can I have £9,999,999.99, please? I think that's one of our that is also like a definite Yaseen-ism thing.
A Yaseen moment.
Yeah, a Yaseen moment. Yeah, is you requesting that on Facebook Messenger, and then my reply is just fuck off.
No. So I did it. So yeah, I did it once. Yeah. So the first time was with PayPal, and I typed in as many nines as I could, so it came out to like 9,999,999 of course.
Was it in like some weird currency as well? Like I don't think it was in
pounds. No. That was a
different time. That was a different time where you tried to extort money from me.
Yes, there was a different time where I tried to extort money from you. Yeah, that's right. So that time, the time you're thinking of was that I picked Swiss francs for whatever reason. I did the same, but with the Swiss currency, which is the franc. The one you're thinking of was when Facebook introduced that thing like Facebook Pay or whatever. So it was like
it's like Facebook PayPal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Facebook PayPal. Yeah, they introduced that thing, and so I requested that you give me their maximum, which was something like £9,999.
Yeah, something like that.
And then you told me to fuck off.
Literally, and it's it's just a fantastic screenshot.
It's like beautiful.
Yaseen requests this amount of money, and then just me with fuck off.
Fuck off. Yep, classic us. They turned that off like a little bit, because I remember I sent you like a penny or something.
Yeah.
And you just didn't bother to withdraw it. So now, and they turned off the Facebook Pay thing or whatever. So Zuck now has like 1 penny or something that he got from me that you didn't accept.
I know. Well, it's only a penny. He's not going to spend it all at once.
That's true. I mean, nothing is funnier though than sending you a penny with a message through the interbank system.
I'm pretty sure you've like randomly deposited like 3 pence in my bank account before, though. You definitely have, and I've been like, what? Just like confused.
Yeah, like because when you send a transaction through the banking system, you can add like a little note.
Yeah.
So I would send like a penny because obviously that's the minimum, and I'd write a little message for you.
Oh.
And obviously you must not see the messages or something, but
I don't think I do. But then I am with Nationwide, and Nationwide is notoriously shit for transferring money. Do you know what I've had this issue recently with friends is I owe them money and I'm like, oh, can I PayPal you? It's easier. And they're like, oh, I don't have PayPal. I'm like, oh, let me just get my Nationwide card reader out to add your bank details to my app. I can transfer you the money. It's the only banking money provider in the UK that does it. No other bank or building society has that as a feature. So I'm sat there in like a bloody restaurant with my fucking card reader out looking like an absolute nonce.
Yeah. The card. I mean, obviously the card reader thing is like for like security and whatever. But like that means like with Starlink, for example, like I don't even need to get all that guff out. I just send you a link, and then you pay for it, and it's like, wow. And that's through the interbank system as well. And I think it's incredible, like all of this stuff is just baked in. Like remove the card reader from the whole thing, and actually, like,
Mhm.
it's just so simple and elegant, and all you need is someone's name, their bank details, and that's it. Like, no craft. And like the longest I've ever had to wait for a payment to settle was like 90 seconds. And like
Yeah.
I was so worried that I like there was something wrong or whatever. But no, it took like 90 seconds and that was it. That was it.
Wow.
Yep, I know. So I think that's a good place to end this episode, don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. It's been really fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah. Oh, also, occasionally, so on the screen here, you're called Jeff, which is a reference to the fact that you made a reference to that film, 2021 Jump
22
Street.
Jump Street,
Yeah.
actually.
Is it
So the
22
second
Jump
one.
Street? Is it
Yeah,
second one? Oh my god.
it's at the beginning of the film where they're pretending to be they're undercover,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's right.
Jonah Hill's character's
Yeah.
doing like a caricature of a Spanish drug dealer, Mexican drug dealer, and Channing Tatum's there, and it's just like, my name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. And you quoted that line quite a considerable amount.
Yeah, because
And
I think at university, like that film had not long just come out,
yeah, that's
or
right. That film,
it was still relevant at the time.
it was still relevant at the time. Yeah, that
It's
film was
also
still relevant.
it's also the best 2020 the best Jump Street film because it's got the slam poetry scene.
Yeah.
Slam
Cynthia.
poetry, yelling.
Yeah, that was 22. Holy shit, that's so weird. It is weird to think that 22 Jump Street, which is the second one, is more iconic than the first one.
Yeah, definitely. I would
And
agree
from
with
that, we started calling you Jeff, which also
Yeah.
it's similar to Jess anyway. So like,
Yeah, it is.
but I
Yeah.
remember one time I mentioned to someone that I was seeing Jeff,
Yeah.
and then you turned up, and I was like, oh hi Jeff, and then I think there was like I think at one point in some other time, I think there may be confusion as to whether you were like trans or something,
Mhm.
because I kept calling you Jeff for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, you're not trans that I know of, so it's like it's just very funny. But
I go by
speaking
many names.
many names, Jeff, Jess,
Jessica.
Jessica, just to add
Yeah.
more confusion into
More
into the mix there.
layers.
More layers. But speaking of being trans and stuff, Jess has been one of my staunchest allies. I'm proud to call Jess an ally, actually, in respecting my gender entry and things like that. Like one of the my favorite, one of the most and this is probably something that you've like long forgotten about, but I remember very clearly is that when I came around to see you last time, you spoke about this person who was talking about a Harry Potter game, and they were like really into it and stuff, and they were like saying all this awful stuff about it, and you were just like, well, like, you know, like you're entitled to your opinion or whatever, but you know, this kind of the game that you're playing is harmful, and J.K. Rowling is like a harmful person in the way that she acts. And you were just telling me this story about how you dealt with this guy, and you're like, you know, I'm just not gonna see him anymore. And like
Yeah.
you tell me how you dealt with him, and I was like, and like you were telling me as a matter of fact, like you weren't like trying to show off, you weren't trying to like, you know, to show your credentials or whatever. You just
Yeah.
expressing it as a natural thing, and like
No.
to me, like that you know, to me was like a very touching moment because it it's very I mean, oh, like I said it before in the episode, you always say what you mean, you know,
Yes, this
and
is
that's an
true.
example of that. And you know, and I think allyship, especially trans allyship in this current social political climate, you know, many people are very performative about
Mhm.
it. They only show it outwardly, whereas you know they should really be more like you in that regards, and that they should believe in it,
Calling
even
out the
when
bullshit.
coming out of bullshit, even when you know their trans friends aren't there, you know, and
Yeah.
it's so easy to do, like for example, Samad, one of our friends, you know, when he was, you know, he showed me a message that he sent to his girlfriend, and he used the right pronouns for me there,
Mhm.
and you know that's like a small thing, but like you know to him it is just as natural as anything else, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like allyship isn't, you know, being a good supporter isn't like supposed to be like an extra thing. It's supposed to be, it should be something that you should do naturally as
Yeah, not to
anything
get
else.
kudos.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to get
You know,
not to get points or anything.
right, exactly. Like the classic Bible story of the of the woman who gives like a small amount of money to charity but never says anything about it. That her donation is worth more in the eyes of God than a rich man who flaunts his his philanthropy, his his donations more openly.
Exactly. Oh well, I'm glad
Uh,
you feel supported. And
I do feel
I do my
supported.
best.
You do your best, and that's all I can ask for you, and that's all you can give me. And I'm very pleased, you know.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
So yeah, that's a very positive note, I think. And thank you.
Not us trying to end the pod 5 minutes ago and then going off on a tangent. That's very unlike us.
I mean, if every episode has a moment where they derail, so for us to derail at the end is also like totally in keeping with everything else. But yeah, it's been lovely to have you on here, Jess.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've had a
You're
great
very.
time.
I had a fun time too. It's been great. It's been great. So this episode, what I call this, lucky number. Yeah, this is episode lucky number. Fuck.
Lucky
with
number 7.
with Jess.
Hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye. This episode was directed very loosely directed by me, produced and hosted. Wait, yeah, directed very loosely by me, hosted by me, and presented by me, Yaseen. Guest starring Jess. This episode was mixed and mastered by Gamer at Bungie.online. This episode was recorded under the sea, just like in A Little Mermaid. That's good night. That's good night from me, and a good night from Jess, I hope.
Oh, do I say goodnight as well?
Yeah, you can
Oh,
say
I'm
good night.
sorry. Okay. I feel really cringe saying it. And it's good night from me. I'm just giving myself the ick. I can't sleep with myself tonight.